I bought a used Tacoma. Hola! I'm Mike, the backyard mechanic, and my family can't drive a stick. Before explaining why, I want you to be sure to stick around until the end. I have a special guest. If the Mustang Civic or the Mazda breaks down, the emergency backup is the Honda Pilot, if it's available, and Mrs. Backyard Mechanic isn't out of town. She often travels and performs international coups and assassinations for the CIA. She delivers flowers. There are also rare times that the Honda Pilot breaks down. Nobody can borrow the Mustang because the Mustang has a clutch, and none of them can drive it. Credit goes to Little Miss Content Maker, who has at least expressed interest in learning. But she works a lot of hours doing murder scene cleanup for the CIA. Damn it! Selling frozen drinks at McDoozie's. So I decided I needed another car as backup. A sports car wouldn't work because I would want that to be a stick too. I live in Texas. Everyone else in Texas has a truck. I could be like everyone else and buy a truck. A truck would be convenient for hauling groceries. But what kind of truck? I considered most of the main brands: GMC, Chevy Silverado, Dodge Ram, Ford F-150, Ford Ranger, Nissan Frontier, Honda Ridgeline, and of course Toyota. I decided I wanted a regular cab, two-seater, so I could have a normal-sized vehicle but still a full-size bed. Something I could really fill up with groceries. I decided I would focus on Tacomas. Not being a truck guy, I wasn't always sure what to look for. This was the third Taco I looked at. It had a lot of things wrong with it, but I figured they were all issues that were fixable. I talked them down from $12,500 to $11,250. Spoiler, I should have talked them down a little further. It's what I wanted. Simple 4-cylinder engine. I still have PTSD from working on the V6 Lexus. 2.7 liter variable timing dual overhead cam, 159 horsepower and 180 pounds of torque. It's a two-door full bed. Thing is, a two-door Tacoma is a base model. Base like in the floor. This Taco is nothing but a tortilla and beans. It has drum brakes. I hate drum brakes. It has manual windows and locks. That's crazy. There was a bee in the cab on my way home and I had to lay on the seat to roll the window down. It doesn't have cruise control. I saw this large screen control panel and assumed that it had a backup camera. Nope, it's just a radio. And you can't see it in the sunlight. And a bench seat, the height of discomfort. I feel transported back to the 1960s. But it does have a full-size 6-foot bed. I made two mistakes when buying the truck. The main one is I forgot my scanner. And that was a big mistake because the used car dealer cleared the codes and it has an emissions issue. The other mistake was I thought the loose steering was from the bad sway bar bushings. Turns out it also needed shocks. But I did recognize the sway bar bushings, the brakes needed work, and 2 lug studs are broken. There are a couple of lights out in the back and the dome light is burnt out, and of course, I should change the oil. Before jacking it up, set the emergency brake. Break all the lug nuts loose. Even if you have an impact wrench, it's a new vehicle and you don't know how much they are torqued. Jacking is easy with a full-framed vehicle. I used my Milwaukee power ratchet to finish removing the lugs and set the wheels aside. The front brake pads looked great, so I went to inspect the back brakes. Of course, the drum would not come off. I tried hammering it and prying it, then soaked it with PB Blaster. These screws fit in these threaded holes. Maybe screwing them in will push off the drum. These were not high quality screws. I destroyed them. I got this puller tool. I expected I would have to pull the drum off, but screwing the screws in pushed the drum off. So simple when you have the right equipment. Before doing the brakes, I removed the broken lug studs with a small sledgehammer and a punch. I didn't really need the punch. The process to press in a lug stud is to use a stack of washers and an impact wrench on the lug nut. I don't really know how you would do it without an impact. Maybe a big bar between the studs to hold it in place. But the impact doesn't do it either. I can't get it in all the way. What? What? I ordered a stud installer bearing from Amazon. In the meantime, I'll change the oil. I popped off the drain plug and drained the oil. After draining, I popped the plug back on. The crush washer industrial complex has not invaded Toyota. The oil filter was more than finger tight, so I used my filter wrench, but it's hard to get to because it's really up inside of there. What? I went to the auto parts store and got this oil filter socket. I made sure it fit on the new filter I bought at the store, except it didn't fit. This is not a standard filter. This damn thing is from one of those quickie change places that apparently put the filter on with an impact wrench. So I ordered a universal oil filter claw from Amazon. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the sway bar. I had new bushings and links ready to go. I'm able to hold the link joint with an adjustable wrench while I use an impact on the nut, and repeat on the other side, which is easier to see. After the links are disconnected, I took off the bushing brackets on both sides. I put new bushings on to make sure they fit, but I didn't bolt them in yet. A 12mm open-end wrench held the link rod while an impact removed the nut. I put the new link on and hand tightened the nut to hold it in place. The second link comes off with the same process. The new link is put loosely in place. The link bushings were tightened up. I honestly was just guessing here how tight. I think the tighter it is, the tighter the feel on the road, so I did that. The link bushing on the other side was tightened close to the same as the first. Then I put the link joint in place and put a nut on finger tight. The second link joint is put into place. Now the bushing brackets can be put on. All bolts finger tight to make sure everything lines up. After all the bolts are in place, I can hit the brackets with an impact wrench. I tightened up the link nuts with my power ratchet and then tightened them up with a 1/2-inch ratchet by hand. I didn't want to use the impact wrench and over tighten them. The wheel stud installer arrived, so I replaced the stack of washers with the bearing. With the bearing and the impact wrench, both studs were pulled into place. And I didn't even have to grind down the diameter of the studs to get them to fit. At all. I swear. The new oil filter grapple claw arrived. You kind of need two hands to use this tool. You put it in place with one hand and the ratchet, and with the other hand twist the grapple fingers into place, then start turning the ratchet. It took way too much effort to break the filter free. Hashtag change your own oil. Hashtag quickie lube shops suck. This thing works great. I highly recommend it. I'm adding it to my collection of assorted oil wrenches. The new filter is put on finger tight, then 1/4 of a turn. Then put an impact wrench on it. The Tacoma 2.7 L4 takes 5.5 liters of 0W20. I'm checking the dipstick often because I'm unfamiliar with the vehicle. I put the remaining oil in my good oil collection that can be used with the Pilot, Mazda, and Civic, and use the empty container for the old oil to be recycled. The back brake shoes are in pretty good shape, but they still need to come apart so I can clean and grease the adjuster, which won't turn. Before getting too far, always take a bunch of pictures of the drum brake Rube Goldberg machine. The adjuster is disassembled, wire brushed, degreased, re-greased, and reassembled. I replaced the hold down spring, doing my best to keep everything together in their original place. I replaced the tension spring using a long screwdriver and the hub as a fulcrum. Then I tapped it in the rest of the way. I set the adjuster to show the same amount of threads it showed before and replaced the drum. After working on the other side, it occurred to me that something might be wrong. I consulted my picks and the spring on the bottom should be behind the metal plate, not in front of it. So I got to do it all again. Did I mention how much I love drum brakes? They're made for people who think a 30-minute job should take 4 hours. I tested the brake fluid with my, well, I want to call this a refractometer or something fancy, but it's a cheap brake fluid tester. Their functionality is dubious, but the color of the fluid looks very good and that seems to jive with the reading, so the fluid does not need replacing. But the brakes have a lot of travel before stopping the truck. I have to at least bleed the brakes and get any air out of the system. When bleeding brakes myself, I prefer the old-fashioned way, with a little bottle held in place with a magnet. I like my setup of pointing a camera at the bottle and monitoring it inside the cab while I pump the pedal. This setup was repeated for all 4 corners. There really wasn't any air in the lines. The brake fluid reservoir was topped off. There is 1 signal light and 1 reverse light burnt out. I'm just going to replace all 4. The taillight assembly is held in place with 2 large Phillip head bolts and then pops out with a little muscle. The signal lamp pulls straight out. The new signal lamp pushes straight in. The reverse light also pulls straight out and pushes straight in. The assembly is popped back on and then the bolts are replaced. The process is repeated on the other side. Note I'm wearing gloves. You don't want to get your grubby, greasy fingerprints on the lamps, else they could suffer a premature death. To install the second taillight, I used my drill motor instead of the drill driver so that it wouldn't over-torque the screws and break them. The wheels are put back on. Wear old shoes so you can use your feet to help lift the wheels into place. The lugs are snugged with my power ratchet. Because of the broken studs, I was missing a few lug nuts. The whole set is only $20, so I got some black ones. I replaced them a few at a time so that, the wheel wouldn't fall off. Then all the lugs are torqued to 100 foot-pounds. The center caps are replaced, all 3 of them. These are impossible to find, but I want to get a set of rims eventually. The dome light doesn't work. This gets pretty frustrating at night. The cabin is pitch black and I can't even get the key in the ignition. It's fun how manufacturers sell dome lights in packs of 2. I only have 1 dome light. I have this box of assorted light bulbs from these damn 2-packs. I don't even know where they all go. The positive battery terminal was also corroded. I didn't get video of it, but here's the new terminal. The wiper fluid reservoir is filled with water. That won't be a problem when it's below 0. It was siphoned out with my penis pump, my hand pump. Washer fluid is $5 a gallon. Remember the good old days when it was $2? The good old days being about a year ago? I plugged in my D&D scanner under the dash. Ugh, of course it has codes. These are emissions codes, which is sort of a good thing. It won't be unsafe to drive. Possibly just bad mileage or rough starting. P0441 is the one to focus on. Resolving that will most likely resolve the other. The first effort is to replace the gas cap. That was easy enough, but the light came back on a few days later. The next effort was to replace the purge valve. This is a standard throw parts at it attempt because it's actually a pretty common problem and a pretty cheap part. But the light came back on a few days later. I checked the hoses but couldn't find anything obvious. I'm afraid I might have to go to the mechanic to get this figured out. So was it a smart move? It had a lot of dumb things wrong with it. I feel if I would have called out the shocks, the TPMS, and ran my scanner to uncover the emissions problems, I could have gotten another $300 to $500 off the price. But it's a truck, and specifically a work truck. This was the 3rd Taco I looked at. The first 2 were really beat up. I was excited about the condition of this one, and it's still rough around the edges. A proper set of shocks is $500. I'll be doing that soon because the thing rides like a shopping cart with 1 bad wheel. Regardless, I have myself a proper truck. People can stop calling me a fake Texan when I go to the grocery store. As usual, links in the description for all the tools and parts that I bought. Get that oil filter wrench. Oh, my special guest is online. Hey, special guest. What's up? I'm here to talk about my new channel, What Did I Do Now? Oh. It's you again. How do you keep sneaking your way into my videos? Thank you for the invite. I'm introducing my new video. Is your attic overloaded? I didn't invite you. People put a lot of stuff in their attic, but how much is too much and what will happen if you do? I run the calculations. Oh, that actually sounds like something most people would be interested in. So what is your video about? I bought a new Toyota Tacoma. Gotta go. Does anyone else find him annoying? Oh, I have a fan online. Hey fan, did you like the video?
I can't believe you did that to those groceries considering the cost of inflation. Those eggs must cost more than the truck.
Thanks, fan. My video where I rank and review power drills is worth a watch. And I guess I need to recommend Is Your Attic Overloaded? I mean, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of crap up there. I can't get it in all the way. Now I get it. It's hard to get to because it's really up inside of there. I still don't get that one.